Hello and welcome back to another video. As you can tell by today's title, we're doing a book haul. Very unexpected, was not planned, but then I looked over and I noticed that I had accidentally bought quite a few books in January alone, which means that I'm probably going to be on a book buying ban for truly the foreseeable future, because it's kind of embarrassing how many books I have that I have not read, and my TBR cart is overflowing, and it's actually kind of making me a little anxious now how many books I have that I haven't read, and I would like for them to finally make their way over to my bookshelf. Mainly all of the books that I have are fantasy -2, so we're going to start with those two. The first one being Ocean Vuong's Unearthed We're Briefly Gorgeous. I've heard wonderful things about this one. I definitely am looking forward to reading it. If you don't know what it's about I believe a young man who is writing letters to his mother who cannot read, but they're recounting the experiences in his family's history and how they have affected him personally, I believe. It's a pretty short book, and from the few first pages I read, the writing was honestly so incredible. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Thanks to the Barnes & Noble's 50% off all hardcovers sale, I was able to pick up, finally, A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I was looking forward to reading this book so much, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to buy it, but then I finally read a sample of it, and from just a few pages I read from the beginning, immediately add to cart. I knew I needed it. Of course, everyone is torn on whether or not they like this cover or the self-published cover. Although I really do love the self-published cover, I have grown to love this copy of it, and that's why I was really hopeful in finding a copy at like one of the bookstores near me, because not only is the cover kind of pretty, it's also a signed edition and it has deckled edges, and I know the jury is still out on deckled edges, but I find them really fun to read with, and it gives the book more character, I think. If you don't know, this book is about Dracula's first wife and her going through all of her traumas and the things that she's experienced while being a wife of Dracula. Also, I love that there is a trigger warning. The trigger warnings in the first couple, like, where is that? Oh, just dropped all of that. Yes, okay, so the author's note includes trigger warnings, which I think is honestly so underrated. People need to be doing that way more often, and I'm thinking of one popular romance writer in particular. She needs to be more forthcoming about the things she's putting in her romance books. But if there's something that you know that constantly triggers you in reading or in writing or in the world, I would definitely look it up before you pick up this book. But I'm really looking forward to reading this, and I'm definitely not going to wait until October to read this one, so it might be fairly soon that I pick this one up. Now onto the fantasy books. I've discovered that I've become a big fan of the high stakes in fantasy stories and in the genre in general, so I've picked up quite a few new books that are fantasy related. So the one downside that I found in the fantasy genre is that most of them are in series, and not too many of them are standalones. If you know a standalone fantasy book, let a girl know, because I have truly too many series that I'm in the middle of now, but I'm a commitment to the bit, so I will be finishing them. With that being said, I was also able to pick up Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn at the Barnes & Noble's 50% off sale, and it is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, so I'm very happy that I was able to get this for only $10. If you don't know, this is a sequel in the Legendborn cycle by Tracy Deonn, and it focuses on Bree Matthews, who is a 16-year-old who is in an early college program at UNC Chapel Hill, and while she's there, she discovers a secret society that is based on Arthurian legend, and so she just decides to try to infiltrate them to see if she can figure out what happened to her mother and what caused her death. It's not a spoiler at all. It's literally in the first 2 pages of Legendborn, but if you haven't read the first one, I highly recommend it. It was truly an incredibly paced book that I enjoyed through and through, so I'm really looking forward to getting into this one because I haven't heard anything bad about it, and it's honestly, from the reviews, everyone is saying that it is right on par with the first one. So very excited. Stay tuned for my February TBR because you'll definitely see this one in that one. But yeah, it's also, I think, a little thicker. Like, I think it's a little longer than the first one, but honestly, I don't mind. I'm actually really excited. I think this may be the first one I read in February. Okay, the rest of these books are from Half Price Books, and they're also continuing the fantasy theme. If you've been following along for a while, you know I'm working my way through the ACOTAR series. We can only assume what the next book I'm gonna pick up is. And yes, I did get Crescent City House of Earth and Blood, also by Sarah J Maas. I honestly don't know too much about this series, and I also don't think I should read it before Throne of Glass because I haven't read that series either. And from what I'm gathering on social media, it's kind of like a crossover between the 3 series, and that most people recommend me reading Throne of Glass first. If you think differently, feel free to let me know in the comments down below because I truly don't know the difference. I've also seen things that people are saying that this is a Zootopia fan fiction, which had me pick it up even faster, honestly. If you don't know what this one is about, I believe it's about Bryce, the main character. Her best friend is murdered. The killer is supposedly in jail already, but then the murders begin to happen again to other women, so she takes on the task of investigating who this could be and what happened to her friend to find the truth. It's honestly, I'm guessing, a lot of truth to uncover because it is a very long book, and I haven't been able to find the second book in a paperback quite yet. I was able to find this at a very good price of only like $9, which is why I picked it up. Because I only got this one for $9, I went to find the second one for $9 or cheaper, and right now it's like steadily at $15 everywhere I look. So if you know me, you know I will wait. Knowing that I love a good bargain for a book, I could not pass up getting this book, Lady Midnight, which is the first book in the Dark Artifices trilogy by Cassandra Clare. I know nothing about this series, nothing about the world, nothing about the universe. I haven't read a single book by Cassandra Clare, but it was $2.50. It was $2.50, and I couldn't believe that this thick book was $2.50, and I figured for that price I could try to understand it. I've also seen that a lot of people love her books, and I think she just recently released a new one, which is called Chain of Thrones, I think. I don't know, like I said, I don't know anything about this series, but please convince me down below if you love this book, if you love this series. I know this is the sequel to The Mortal Instruments, I believe. Like, I think I'm supposed to read that series first, and then like there's the Infernal Devices, and then there's this one. I'm gonna start here. I know it will probably be very confusing, but I'm a smart girl. I'm hoping I can pick it up and figure it out as it goes along. But yes, once again, it's another trilogy, giant book. So if I'm being honest, it'll probably be a while before I pick this one up. Keeping with the same theme of truly not knowing anything about the series, I got Victoria Aveyard's Red Queen. Now, I have been seeing this book since I was probably 14, which is truly 10 years ago. I know, that scares me too, but I've been seeing this since. That's crazy that was 10 years ago. Grateful for it. I've seen this book since I was probably 14 years old when I was first getting into reading again. And I just always passed it by because I was like, whatever, I don't want to read it. But they released a new print format of the book, and I'm kind of obsessed with the size of this book. It's about the size of my hand, and they also did new covers for it. If you can see, if you can, yeah, there you go. And I just honestly I love it. Like, I don't like mass market paperbacks because I think they're too small, but I do like that this one is like kind of the in-between size of a mass market paperback and a regular paperback. To my understanding, this book follows Mare, our main character, who is a non-magical red who is sent to work in the Silver Palace, which are people who are silvers are magical to my understanding. And whilst there, she figures out that she is actually magical. So I think she's working from the inside to help a militant resistant group infiltrate and overtake the silver regime. So honestly, a lot of big words there for me. And I've never read a book quite like this, but I do think this is gonna be really fun. I do tend to read samples of books before I get them, so I did read a sample of this on the Libby app and realized I actually really did like it. And once again, it was only about $6, so I went ahead and picked it up. Now, as if I don't have enough series to read, I did end up getting 2 more series. Now, I was extremely lucky and was able to find the entire Shadow and Bone series at my Half Price Books for only $15. And honestly, I had no real desire to read this series, but I've heard good things. I enjoyed the show, and I'm not quite into my epic high fantasy era, but I think I could get down with a little more YA fantasy. I'm looking forward to reading this. Also, the covers were just really pretty. I do really love the covers of these books. So I do have Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising. Now, I know most people don't love like this little flat back, and I also don't really love them either, but I think this one is done really well on how they've designed the flat back to accommodate the first page, like the cover, in a really cute way. I'm not going to explain what this book is about. I feel like a lot of people know what it is and I'm just the one late to the game, but I also figured there's a return policy. I'll read a couple pages of the first one, and if I don't like it, then I can just return it. Chances are that's not gonna happen. I tell myself that every time I buy something that I could return it, and I never return it. I am very happy. Oh, and I just got lip gloss on it. Now they're mine forever. And finally, so we can wrap this vlog up, I did get the Wrath and Dawn duology ? By Renee Ahdieh. This one, to my understanding, is a 1001 Nights retelling, and also, which I didn't know when I was looking this up, 1001 Nights is also commonly referred to Arabian Nights in the US, but it's not a singular story. It's actually a collection of stories that are based in Arabic folklore. So I'm really interested in reading this. I've never read anything that is based in Arabic folklore. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Aladdin may be based in Arabic folklore. I don't know. I'm really sorry if it's not, and if it's not, I will cut this part out. If you don't know what these books are actually about, to my understanding, it's a boy king who is made to have to kill one person every dawn because of some curse that has been placed on him, and a woman whose name I believe is Shiraz volunteers to be one of the women that he has to kill, but she persuades him not to, and she's doing this to get revenge for a loved one that she lost. But along the way, she ends up falling for him, and then there's like enemies to lovers, trying to kill you kind of thing. Those are all of the books that I have accumulated in January. Minus 2, I did get Crescent City and On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous in December, so I didn't spend that money this month. But like I said before, this is definitely grounds for a book buying ban. I have way too many books that I need to finish reading now on my TBR card so I can put them on my bookshelf. If you've recently bought books, comment them down below. I literally love reading the comments so much, and I would love it if you commented things so we could chat more and become besties in the comments below, and we can all just have a little vibe out session on like what we're reading, what we're excited for. So let me know. I want to read, I want to see them. If you like this, also give it a like and feel free to subscribe. Like, no pressure, but I would love it if you did. And I guess I will see you in the next one.